Hello and welcome to Note There's Only Trash Here podcast, episode 64. The date today is the 5th of October 2014. So, joining me this week is MrMuckluckable, as always.
Hello.
And we got the lovely ProtoMario back.
It's me again, guys.
After you were booed out for your racism.
Is that how we're gonna start this off?
Well, yeah.
Whatever.
You know, you talk to me behind the scenes about, like, listen, it's just my feelings, and I'm just not, it's just who I am, I'm not going to change. And I was like, you know what, that's cool. Come back on the podcast, I don't mind.
Winter is coming, Tom. I can't have a shaved head, but my feelings are the same.
Well, yeah, you got to keep warm.
Yeah.
With that.
You know, you lose most of your heat out of your head.
That's true. Probably.
That's a myth. That's a myth, though.
Well, who's saying this? Who's spreading this shaved head rumors?
You know, I think it was a conglomerate corporation that talked to the doctors to get more hat sales.
Ah, well, I mean, I have like 20 hats to keep the heat in, so it definitely worked for me. That's for sure.
Oh, well, that's good.
And I'm not even bald, but I want the option to become bald.
Yeah, hats do contribute to baldness, though.
Do they?
Yeah, because the sunlight doesn't give your hair the vitamins that you need.
Is this like the shampoo people going up against the hat people? Where it's like, don't wear hats, you'll go bald. And then they're like, you need a hat to keep warm.
You know, actually, now that you say that, I kind of think it is.
It seems like a vicious war's going on, and we just don't know about it.
Man, you can't even trust doctors anymore.
Or shampoo people.
Oh my God! I know, like, we agreed on certain stories.
Sure.
But I just came across this crazy taxi. City Rush is getting Hulk Hogan as a playable character.
Oh yeah. Because when I think Crazy Taxi, I think wrestling.
First off, he did the anniversary of Pokemon, like, in New York City. And now he's in Crazy Taxi. I fucking love the Hulk, dude. He's like everywhere that you would never expect him to be.
I think with the Pokemon thing, he said that, like, one of his daughters was really into it, so he was like, yeah, Pokemon, I'll go do that stuff.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And then maybe his daughter's like, hey, Crazy Taxi is a video game. He's like, yeah, let's do it. It's like, I don't really like it. No, shut up. Let's do it. I'm in it.
If you tweet out hashtag Crazy Taxi Hulk, you can get a chance to win a signed Hulk Hogan Crazy Taxi City Rush taxi.
Nice. Wait, what? Taxi?
That's what it says. I don't know if it means the game or just taxi.
Well, if it's something that is signed, it can't be in-game DLC, I would think.
I think they mean either a game or an actual taxi.
I hope the actual taxi.
You still have to pay for the
my
taxi,
God.
though.
What, pay for it to get to you? Or to take
Yeah, I mean,
lifts?
it's still a taxi, isn't it? It's just signed.
Maybe it's just Hulk Hogan is your taxi driver from now on.
But he piggybacks you.
No, I meant like he's just driving a taxi around.
Oh, he's the chauffeur.
That's got a massive mustache on the front.
That sounds
That's amazing. That video is amazing.
So what, is there actually a new Crazy Taxi, like a proper Crazy Taxi coming out?
That's for iOS.
Oh, so no.
I mean, Sega makes iOS games, and it works pretty well because, you know, you go forward, and you have a phone, and the phone's movement steers, and that's just pretty much it.
But it's like, Crazy Taxi is best played in an arcade. So going from arcade to iPhone, it's like such a jump.
Yeah, I know. I'm totally not tweeting out hashtag Crazy Taxi Hulk right now.
No, absolutely not. We're protesting.
No, you're right, Tom. You're right. I agree. Crazy.
Is that a? Is the, oh, sorry. If you're typing, I'll let you type.
Oh no! Password. Come on.
Oh well, I'm sure what you're doing is unrelated to the Hulkster.
I'm looking up news stories.
Oh sure. Oh, Proto, you're just always on top of
tweeting
stuff.
this out. I'm not. I promise.
See, I thought you were, but you just said you weren't.
Don't look at your Twitter. Don't look at your Twitter.
I won't. I have complete faith. Anyways.
No, but I agree. But then, dude, like, arcades are dying in America. I don't know if they're really dying in the UK or not.
Yeah.
In Japan, everyone and their mom's, like, up in an arcade.
Yeah, like, they still get, like, Mario Kart in the arcade.
I know,
Which is
right?
crazy.
See, I think, I'm not trying to get off on a tangent here. I'm really not. But, it always happens. But the thing is, the reasons I think arcades died, okay, it's not entirely the home console market. That's only, like, half of it. Okay, obviously, if you have a home console, you're not going to sit there and put money into a machine when you own the thing and you can play it as long as you want. Okay,
Sure.
I get that. But, at the same time, there's a real good market for it because you get to play with people you don't know. You're out in public. You're not sitting at home. You're having a good time socializing with a ton of people. You get out parties and stuff like that. But see, here's the thing. Arcades started getting big in the 80s when these machines were new. People were all excited because it's a new thing. And then they started declining in the 90s when everyone had their fill of it. And, excuse me, but a lot of people still look at video games as, like, kids stuff, toys, and stuff like that. Fucking retards don't even realize that, video game industry makes trillions and billions of dollars every single year. And they're like, oh, that's just kid thing. I'm gonna go do some man stuff. I'm gonna go fish and drink and drive and butcher pigs.
That's what men do.
I'm a man.
That's what I do.
And then women are like, oh my god, you still play Pokemon? I'm going to go get drunk at the club. Because that's better.
Weren't you talking about Crazy Taxi? I don't...
Yeah, and that alludes to games like Crazy Taxi.
Yeah.
Like, you're never going to get these head-to-head Crazy Taxi machines ever again because of that stigma, Well, so why would they do that? Why would they develop $1 million machine? Why would they put the cost into putting it into places other than like Chuck E. Cheese? And they wouldn't because no one would ever go to it.
Yeah, like, because it used to be that arcades used to be more powerful than home consoles as well. So you were going
that too,
out.
yeah.
But now it's kind of a case of they have to put a lot of money in an arcade machine to make it on par. And then it's just kind of like... I don't know, I don't think arcades were ever that big in the UK. I would only see them at bowling alleys. And even then, it's like, you would play Time Crisis and...
There were kind of standalone arcades here. I don't know, have you ever seen the movie Tron?
I saw Tron Legacy.
Well, then you know about Flynn's Arcade.
Yeah.
And, like, that's how it was back then.
But that sounds cool.
So,
I guess some of it might also be because people don't let their kids out as much.
Mm-hmm.
Because the arcade is just where, like, you would send your kids out and that's where they would go. But now it's just not... It's more play dates and go to the park and things like that. It's not go out and find your own fun.
You send your kid to the arcade and he comes back missing his liver and shanked.
Exactly, and that's not what you want.
And you're like, that's interesting. What happened, Johnny?
Did you lose?
I was playing Space Invaders, and then the guy who gives out quarters, he came over and got me. Said, fucking don't do it again, kid.
That's exactly what happens.
And I said,
Anyway, stealing kids' livers aside, I don't
know about the liver thing, but
Yeah, I know. I think arcades only really appeal to kids or people that played arcades as a kid.
Yeah.
So if you can't get a kid to an arcade, then it's just not going to work.
Right.
And instead you can just have a kid in your sight at home, get them the console, they just sit in the living room, you can keep an eye on them, they're happy, you're happy, and you haven't had to, like, they're safe and they're playing video games that they like. It kind of works out a little bit better for everyone. And also arcades were like a rip-off. Like, all those games were designed for you to lose.
Were quarter eaters. Like how I was talking about earlier with the Sony ponies, and if they bought Sunset Riders.
Sure.
Sunset Riders was a quarter eater. Like, dude, even the Super NES version, like, I don't know anyone. I never knew anyone that could just get through the game without dying a lot.
Yeah, that's the insane thing. That like they would just port the arcade games to a console, and they would still be stupidly hard. Like that seems crazy. That they wouldn't take 2 seconds to be like, maybe we should give them a few extra lives. It's like, no, shit it. It's perfect. The kids love it.
I thank God that Simpsons Arcade and X-Men Arcade, when we LP'd it, that they included the infinite life. I thank God. You know?
I sucked at X-Men like really bad, so I was thankful for that, or I would have been gone in like the first 2 levels.
Yeah, it's like So yeah.
Yeah. Alright, so let's move on to the first news story, which is Retron 5? Did I write that down correctly?
The Retron 5. The Retron 5's been a bit naughty.
Oh.
So
you know more about this story, so what's going on with these guys?
okay, so with post-market consoles, you know, it doesn't matter if you like them or hate them, they have their place, okay? So post-market consoles seek to do what the original did, but incorporate features to lure you to purchase them, okay? So the Retron Duo played Sega and Super Nintendo games, and so on and so forth up until 5. And that's when they started like incorporating a lot more games. So the Retron 5 can play Famicom, SNES games, NES games, Sega Master System if you got the power converter, and Game Boy. All the way up till, I think, Game Boy Color or Advance. I'm not positive, but you get the point. Okay, so in order to do this, you know, you can't just make a plastic machine and a computer and plug in the cartridge and say go. Okay, you need an emulator. You need an engine. So emulators are usually the things that you go with. But if you go with an emulator, you have to give credit to whoever made the emulator. Well, you see, Hyperkin didn't do that. They didn't list their sources. They didn't give credit. They just took all these emulators and threw them in this. And they took bits and pieces of the code. Now, there's several gaming websites that came forth and said, hey, that's our code. We figured it out. It was really easy to figure out it's our code. And Hyperkin's like, oh, no. We didn't know anything. We thought it was free and like whatever. And a lot of these emulators have non-commercial licenses, which means you can't sell them for profit and you can't like get an office building and give it to everyone and say, here you go, everyone enjoy. It's an individual license. So each individual person has to view that agreement and click accept. You can't just mass produce it and put it into a machine with other emulators and say, okay, it's good to go, right? Because not everyone accepts that license. So in that license agreement, a lot of the things are, you know, don't distribute for profit. And that's what Hyperkin did. And yeah, they weren't distributing the emulator itself, but they didn't give any credit. They didn't cite their sources. And then eventually they finally did. They put it up on their website and they feigned like knowing. They acted like they didn't know anything. And it was just like, really, guys? Really? And so that's what happened.
See, it's like, it's so weird because there's this whole other part of gaming which is like these companies making these smaller consoles that run older games. And most people don't even pay attention to it. But it's definitely real, and it's definitely happening, and it's like such a different world to mainstream stuff.
It's the dark world of gaming.
Exactly.
Welcome to the Shadow Realm, Honest Tom.
Oh, this is nice.
Anytime I play Destiny, and it says the darkness has consumed you, I want Pegasus to like say welcome to the Shadow Realm. I would pay $10 in DLC for that.
Ooh, season pass?
Yeah.
Microtransactions maybe?
Like $120.
10-year
straight
plan?
up. 10 years of Pegasus saying that every time. I would die on purpose. The shadows got you, Yugi boy.
See, I don't get the reference, I'm afraid.
You don't have to.
Nice. But anyway, yeah, so with this story, like, the crazy thing is that the reason why these emulators exist and haven't been, like, taken down and anything is because they don't charge. Like, I don't think what they're doing is, like, they're just in the realm of being legal, that it's kind of a bit on the edge with a lot of these sites, but most of them have figured it out. It's like, we'll make it, we'll put it out for free, we don't supply the ROMs. There's no issue there. But then as soon as somebody tries to make any sort of money off all of this, that's when it becomes like, all these companies could turn around and say, that's money ours. That's like our money.
Even companies like Sony, Nintendo, and Microsoft could sue them. Like, straight up. Because they are profiting from an emulator, and emulators are 100% legal. Like, you could make an emulator right now, Tom, to play every game on the planet, and you couldn't get sued as long as you made it. And then, if you never charged for it, no one could do anything to you. But, like, the second you start charging for it, and you don't, like, have an agreement with Nintendo or whoever made the original emulator, then you're in deep shit.
Yeah, it's just like, it's just crazy though, because I don't use emulators anymore. Not that I have anything against them, I used to be all in, but I just kind of find it easier to just kind of buy the game at this point.
Yeah, I'm sort of with you there, but at the same time, I feel emulators have a good place for, like, recording and stuff like that. I feel it's just, I feel that a lot of people hate on emulators without just cause.
Sure.
But at the same time, like, I can understand, you know.
Yeah, I think, like, a lot of people hate on emulators because of the way some people use them. Like, there's nothing wrong with using, or I don't think there's anything wrong with using it for recording, or if you just kind of want to play it on your computer. Like, legally, maybe it's in a grey area, but I think that's fine. But if it's a case of that you're just not buying games, and then you're just going on these really dodgy websites, downloading all these files of, like, the new games and things like that, then that's like, yeah, you should be buying games. Like, as long as you're buying games, I don't see anything wrong in using an emulator or a ROM.
Yeah, I agree.
Because it's like, I have my 3DS, I buy games, but if I want to play some Pokemon on my phone, I like having that option. It's nice.
Right? I agree. At the same time, there's a good point of where you need to, like, stop yourself. You gotta say to yourself, you know, like, you can't just have, like, Pokemon on your phone and be like, well, I never bought Pokemon. Fuck you, Nintendo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Suck it, Nintendo.
Fuck you, motherfucker.
You don't even know.
You don't even know. You don't even know how much money I'm saving. Fuck you, buddy.
But I think, like, console gamers are a lot better with that kind of stuff anyway. It's PC gamers that are the big pirates who just steal all the time. Like, if we're gonna talk about video game piracy, it's not emulators. They're just people playing, like, old NES and SNES games. It's the people who are just like, oh, this new game came out, I'll just take that and install it. Like, that's the problem. Like, that is such a larger problem over emulators that it's not even kind of comparable.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same way, but at the same time, I feel like that's how it used to be, and it's not exactly that way anymore, but it still is.
Better, but it's still, like, it shouldn't be, like, the percentages are too large still. Like, it should be, like, I don't know, 5% of people, but it's definitely not that. Like, not even close.
What ends up happening is these companies, man, they put this DRM in and then it never works out, and then people get pissed off, and they're like, shit.
Yeah.
SimCity.
Perfect game.
Just saying. So, yeah.
Yeah, because it's like companies are now kind of trying to shove these solutions into these games, and then people are moaning about it, but it's like, what if you just... I don't agree with what EA does with all their games, but at the same time, if you just brought the game to begin with, then you wouldn't have to be dealing with this now.
And the people who buy the games legitimately are the ones that suffer.
Yeah,
it's not...
They're the guys.
The pirates will find a way around. They always do. So it's
not-
just whatever.
Yeah. But I don't PC game, so I'm not in that world. Hooray.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you all about that.
For
But I
Proto,
won't.
you only play Mario and
I'm
Pokemon.
Proud you won't. You're talking about PC games, PC Master Race, Proud. You don't even like consoles.
You don't
even
even have.
like Nintendo.
You don't even have a 360.
You don't even have anything. Faggot, Proto.
So, like, recently you were playing Destiny, though, right? I don't think I've got your opinion on Destiny yet.
Okay, so do you watch a basketball game for the story?
I don't watch basketball, but if I did, the answer would be no, unless it's Space Jam, but that's different.
Okay, yeah, that's true. Do you play basketball for a story?
No,
There you go.
I...
Just put that with Destiny.
So the
Do you-
story sucks,
Nice. You almost got it.
but it doesn't
So
matter?
there's no story, and it doesn't matter.
Right.
There's no story. I'm not joking you. You can literally look up a line that is said early on in the game, like the second level. And this guy, he will... I'm dying. Hang on. He will say, I could tell you about the wars, and I could tell you of the golden age, and I could tell you, and then he follows it up with, but I won't.
Oh. I guess it's all...
He never says anything ever again. Like, he never, like, tells you anything useful.
It's all part of the
Ever.
10-year plan, it's fine. You'll find out the backstory. Destiny Reach.
Dude,
It's coming.
that would be great if it was, like, 10 years from now. That would be great, but it's not.
Oh.
So, flash forward. I'm not spoiling the game for you, and I really don't want to. But all throughout the game, you will encounter a hunter. That's a class. And this hunter will tell you different things. A hunter robot, and I refer to her as a her, because even though she's a robot, she has boobs. Now,
Nice.
again, there's no story, so I'm focusing on subplots now. Where's her tits coming from? Does she have a vagina? She's a robot. What? Logic? What? But, let's just throw that out the window for now. Let's just put that on the back burner. All through the story, she shows up, and basically, she's there for exposition spewing. Like, hey, you're doing great shit. But are you that good? Go here and kill these things. And then you do that, and she's like, yeah, you're pretty cool. Go here and kill these things. And you do that, and then... you beat the final guy, and she shows up, hands you her gun, and leaves. Disappears. Not just leaves. Just fades. And never identifies herself one time. Ever.
Oh, okay.
I just... Every time and like, during that whole scene... They're giving you a speech and congratulating you on basically saving the universe. And you're just like, fuck it, whatever.
So when are, like, the 4 books coming out that explains who she was and her backstory?
I don't know.
When can I read all of those?
Okay, no joke. The worst part is, I don't even care about all that. You can shelf all that. That's there. But, dude, okay, there's 4 alien races hell-bent on the destruction of humanity. Why? They never tell you. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
There's the Vex, which are Terminators. That's what they are. Okay? There's the Fallen, which are aliens with 4 arms. Don't know why. Look really human. There's the Cabal, which are military-esque aliens. They just wear big armor. Don't know why. And then there's the Hive, which are like insect things that are summoned and stuff like that, and they're pretty evil. Now, collectively, they're referred to as the quote-unquote, are you ready for this? Are you ready for this?
I'm ready.
The darkness.
Oh, no.
They never explain how you get consumed by the darkness when you die. They never explain how your ghost resurrects you, or why you would give a fuck if you die because your ghost can resurrect you. They never explain what the darkness is. They never explain any of their motives, and you only defeat one of them, and that's the end of the game. You don't defeat them all.
10-year plan. You gotta stretch it out. Because, like, from what you're saying, it sounds like Bungie really liked having their big, expansive Halo universe, but they built that up over time. Like, Halo 1, there was a lot of stuff going on, but it still had its own kind of story that revealed itself. And then Halo 2 and 3, all expanded. And it sounds like they want to hit the ground running with Destiny, where they're trying to set up this massive universe where there's a lot going on. But they just don't have the patience to build it up. So it's just like, we'll ship it, and then we'll do the building later in 10 years.
Someone else put it this way. They said it seems like Destiny had a lot more going on for it, and then Activision came along and said, nope. And then just, like, they like, took the script pieces and just pulled them out and threw them out, and they're like, there you go. And he's like, it's not going to make sense. And Activision's like, it doesn't have to. 10-year plan. And that's what someone else said. And I sort of agree with it because, God, half the stuff doesn't make sense. It doesn't. Even when it's explained, it doesn't make sense. Like, no one ever explains the Traveler. Nobody ever explains the AIs that are still around. There's a mission where you find out one of the AIs that combated the darkness and survived. You find out they're alive, and you do nothing about it. You never talk to them. You never interact with them. You never even tell the tower or the speaker or anyone. You're just like, that was interesting. All right, let's go kill some more. And that's it. That's literally it.
I don't know if this is Activision's fault, though. Like, they put $500 million in this game. So, I'm not too sure if they would... See, maybe they would heavily censor it because of how much money they put in, but at the same time, they would have to have a lot of faith in the project anyway to get that investment or to put all that money in. So, I think it's just like... Bungie. It's also got to be the fact that Destiny is more like an MMO, where Halo was a linear shooter. Like, the levels were open, but the story took a linear path through the game. But now with Destiny, it's like, well, we've got to have all these multiplayer stuff, and we want the game to never end, so I guess we'll just never end it properly.
Yeah, look, I'm not saying that the game's bad. No, but the single player is terrible. I mean, some of the missions are really geared towards co-op, so if you can't co-op them, you're going to have a bad time. And the game is just really geared towards co-oping. If you have a fire team of 3 people, and you can play together, you're going to have a really good time with Destiny. You're going to grind, you're going to find really cool items, and you're going to feel great when you overcome a really challenging mission. The problem is that you're never going to understand why you feel like you should kill these aliens. You're never gonna... You're like, dude, mindlessly killing robots. I'm just like, what are these robots doing? I don't care. I don't care.
And that's like, some people might say that's not a problem, but that really is because they want people to care about the universe of Destiny. You're not going to care about Destiny 2 if you don't care about the story, unless they, you only care about the gameplay stuff, but there was a lot of people who really cared about the Halo universe and that story. I personally thought it was okay and wasn't too invested, but people did buy and read all the books and play Halo Wars, those poor people. So they actually got invested, so I can imagine that all the people who liked Halo and that world gotta be pretty disappointed with Destiny's universe.
And, I understand that. I understand coming in from Halo thinking this is going to be the next best thing. But my God, man, if you just explain some. Now, there are Grimmer cards. There are these cards you get, and if you log on and register your account on Bungie, you can read up. So let me give you a nice picture. You're fighting a new race. You have no idea what these guys are. Okay, you start shooting at them, and you get this card. You need to stop your game. There's no pause.
Okay.
You need to go over to your internet connection, your computer, log on, read up on that card, find out the whole deal about the planet, the battle, this and that, then go back to your game.
Well, you got to know the lore.
Every time.
You got to know it.
Every time. Every time.
That's,
Every time.
Mass Effect would have been 10 times better if every time you found a video file, it was like, go to YouTube and watch this.
YouTube hashtag.
Go to Shepard's YouTube and watch this sick video. Rate, comment, and subscribe.
No, Tom!
That's why Mass Effect 3 failed.
No, Tom!
That ending should have been a straw poll and they know it.
Go to strawpoll.com/Mass Effect 3 ending.
What
Shepard
do you want
dies, Shepard lives, Joker dies.
Fake
Those
ending.
are your only three choices.
Fake ending 1, fake ending 2, fake ending 3, Joker dies. That's your choices.
Like 99% of people vote for Joker dies, and they just give you the fake ending.
They have to just like put it in. They have to be like, Rocksteady, can we borrow your assets? We need to make a scene of Joker dying.
This is not the same Joker, but here.
It's just like you walk into that big blue light at the end of Mass Effect 3 and it just cuts to the ending of Arkham City.
He's just like, what the fuck is this?
This doesn't... That was a good game. Why is it... What? And it's just Shepard's face badly, like, photoshopped on top of
Just shoved
Batman's.
on Batman.
Then it just has Batman equals Shepard, end.
Joker! No, Joker.
Oh, that would people would have liked that. I would have liked that.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
God damn.
So, let me end pretty highly.
Okay.
If you... Destiny is a great game to play. It is not a good game to explain to anyone because there's no story. The story is absolute shit. If there is a story, it doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. So you have no desire to save the world because you never see the world. And on top of that, the places where it looks like you can go, you can't go. So it's not totally open world. There's literally places in the levels that are blocked off. Like open places. Like if you want to get up on a building, you can't get up on the building because it's got an invisible wall.
Yeah, I
No
found
reason.
that odd when I played that. Like, these are just quite small maps. I was expecting a large open world based off all the E3 stuff, but it's just like, it's just kind of a field with a few buildings in and then a couple of tunnels.
Yep. So it's a great game for co-oping. It's a great game for gameplay. It's a great game FPS-wise, but everything else, not really.
Well, I heard something like apparently they're going to get in trouble, Bungie, because part of the deal and part of why Activision gave them so much money, that they were like, you need a 90% or more on Metacritic.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
And then I don't know what's going to happen with all that, but it got like 70 something, I want to say, maybe 80. But it definitely didn't hit 90.
A lot of people were giving it 6s and 7s.
Yeah. I mean, I would assume most of those people were playing it single player for the most part. But it's like game critics are a lot more harsh nowadays anyway. Like, very few games get in the 90s.
Yeah, that's true. Except for The Last of Us Remastered.
Yeah, that's
got
been
a 10.
like the only one this year.
I'm gonna just say this. I am not a hater of the PlayStation. I'm not a hater of The Last of Us. But when you give a remastery of a game that is less than a year old a 10 out of 10, and you don't give new games a decent score, the fuck are you doing?
I think
It's not like it's new.
it's just like, it's weird. It's such a weird one because it kind of, when the gaming industry or media sites review remakes, they should give a score based on how good the remake is. And be like, this is as a remake, like, because the remake isn't for people who didn't play the game. It's for people that played it and want to play a better version. Really, at the end of the day, sure, people who haven't played the game before will pick it up, but it's for like, okay, there was this version.
I want to say this, okay? You know, The Last of Us, it is literally, it got a score of 10 out of 10.
Sure.
Metroid Prime also got a score of 10 out of 10.
Deserves it.
So you're saying The Last of Us is as good as Metroid Prime with the remaster. The remaster. If you play the remaster, it's as good as Metroid Prime. Like, okay? Like, I don't get those scorings. I really don't. I don't even care about the score system. You know, if you like the game, you like the game. It just seems crazy what you have to like bend over backwards, do cartwheels and somersault underwater while like smoking to get a 10 out of 10.
Well, maybe it's just like, because I'm looking at the list, there's been 6 games this year. Like, so you've got The Last of Us, and then Traps and Gemstones for iOS, Velocity 2X, Metro Redux, which is another remake collection, Mikey Boots, or Mickey Boots, another iOS game, and then Diablo 3, which again is another port. So most of these, they're either indie games or ports are the only ones that have got 90 or more. And that is really off. There's been good games this year. So I don't know what's going on there.
I think a lot of people just write off reviewers anymore.
I think you got to take it as in, or when it comes to the big media sites, you got to be like, okay, that's a nice kind of, you got to take it with a pinch of salt. It's like, okay, these guys didn't like it, but then these guys are kind of, you know, you got to know your own tastes and just kind of take it as a general guideline rather than, oh, I'm not going to buy it because this site said it's bad.
Yeah. And if you're not smart enough to figure that out.
Well, like, a lot of people do actually really get affected by review scores. Like, I do reviews, and you also do reviews, Proto, and you must have seen people who are really, like, over the top passionate and be like, fuck you for not giving it, for giving it an 8.5 instead of a 9. How dare you?
I just talked about Destiny today. I was literally recording it live, and I did live commentary. And I had some random person say, shut the fuck up. Didn't say anything else.
Oh, that's good. That's constructive.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for that.
It's like some people won't even have a discussion. It won't even be like, I think you're wrong because of this. It's like, you're dumb and I hate you. It's like, oh, well, that's... Sorry, I guess.
You're white. You're white.
That's not the point I was making.
You're white and I'm black, and Grand Theft Auto 5 is best.
That's
Fuck
not...
you.
That's still...
Fuck you.
I mean, you can make that point, but I won't join in.
My Proto, Destiny is the best game ever!
I don't think there's that many fanboys for Destiny, though. Oh, there's fanboys, but I don't think there's that. It's not that bad.
It's not as bad as some games, but they're there, man. Like, like, just imagine someone, like, holding their arm, like, like, on their bodies, and they're just like, you know, that's what it is.
I get what you're saying, but you didn't have to describe it like that.
I think you need webcams next time.
I can't do that. I gotta put a mask and a suit on.
You're not, no.
Gotta mask up.
Yeah, face cam, mask camp.
Mask cam. Hashtag mask cam.
That's right. Wear like a wrestling mask.
It is gonna be Halloween soon, so I'll have a costume.
Ooh, Halloween stream. Wow.
Yeah. You know what I'm going as? I'm gonna be I'm gonna be the scariest thing on the planet. An IGN executive.
Oh, snap.
Oh, I'm sorry. GameStop executive. There we go.
Oh, the burns. I can't handle this.
So we're getting short on time, and I know we're not gonna be able to get to the stories, but I wanted to point out one thing.
Okay.
You remember when I talked about the GameStop credit card?
Sure.
It's legit.
Okay.
Like somebody linked me to an application. Like, you can do it online.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's easy.
So.
Okay, well, do you want to... Sorry, but do you want to quickly talk about this indie marketing thing? Like...
Yeah, go ahead. Set the stage.
Okay, so yeah, pretty much, Velocity 2X is a game that we just mentioned. It got really high reviews, did really well. It's an indie game that came to the PS4, might have came to the Vita, but nobody really cares about that. And pretty much what the head of the company said, that we wanted advertising. So the way we did it is that we saw big people on the internet, big personalities on YouTube, and we drew them into the game. As in, they literally made character models, put them in the game, and then tweeted the people with, hey look, we put you in the game. And that was how they got marketing for Velocity 2X.
Okay. So, did you want me to say my piece on
yeah,
this?
Yeah, like, you gotta go soon, so...
Okay, so let me just start by saying, this completely removes what's special about it. Let's just say right now, one of the things about, having your image in a game is it's special. It's not every day that you are in a video game. So, like, this basically, there's kids dying of cancer, and their last wish is stuff like this, and half the time they don't even get it. And these guys decided that instead of doing marketing, instead of doing a YouTube themselves, instead of doing this or that they would contact these people, and when they said no, they would just make their likeness, tweet it out, and then a bunch of people would be like, oh my god, look, you're in the game, like, and regardless of if it works, it really seems a nasty way. It seems really nasty.
Well, there's like a thin line behind clever marketing and then just desperation, and this one is definitely more on the desperate side. Because they asked, because PewDiePie and IGN people got put in it, and they asked PewDiePie, would you be up for promoting our game? And he said, no, I'm busy. So then they kind of took a different route. But it's like, you asked, and he said no. So it's like, you kind of got to leave it at that. Like, if you want to put somebody in a game, then do it. It's kind of like how there are Easter eggs in a lot of games, but if the developer tweeted at the people who they're referencing, like, look, we put this Easter egg in the game, then it's just like, it's hard to care. It's not cool anymore. It's just like a bit needy.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna hop off of your time. If you want to join my stream, you can later on if you'd like that.
Oh yeah, man.
And
after the podcast, I'll message you and such.
I'll check at 4:30. All right.
All right. Cool.
Okay, I will catch you later.
All right. See you, bro.
See ya.
Right. Hello, Joe.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Jolly good. So what about you? Like, I would assume that your opinion is that you don't really care about this sort of marketing.
I'll admit I've been a little bit distracted by tea and After Eights.
They are very distracting.
I would say maybe 30% of my brain was listening to the phone call. I think I get what you're saying though. So yeah, it sucks. Is the game actually any good? I didn't hear this bit.
Yeah, the game is one of the
that's even worse.
The list of the top 6 games on Metacritic this year that got 90 plus. One of them is Velocity 2X.
Was them doing this what made it like that?
I have a small feeling it was. Not like enough to just kind of tip it massively. Like, I think if it was bad, they would have been like, this is bad. But I think if you put a load of people in a game like this, yeah, people will probably be like, oh, I could be harsher on this, but nah, you know what, they're good guys, I liked it, so I'll give it a decent score. I want to say that if they didn't do this, it might be on like 88 or something like that. Like, not a massive difference, but this must have helped to help on some degree.
Well, that's lame when it was a good game anyway. It's like, well, if it was a good game, we didn't need to do that.
No. Like, yeah, that's kind of the problem with marketing and, like, the attitude with a lot of marketing is that video games are meant to be art. Entertainment in general, like movies and music, it's meant to be art, but of course you got to promote it. And then it kind of becomes, when you look too much on the marketing side, it becomes too much about getting it out there rather than, I'm going to get it out there because I think this is something good. It then just becomes, I'm going to get this out there. And that's where you kind of get this sort of desperation moves like this happening.
What do you mean?
Well, it's... which part?
Like, okay, so say if I've got a painting, right?
Right.
Say if I'm an artist and I've got this great painting. I would want it to be seen.
Well, yeah, because you want it to be seen because you believe it's something you're proud of and you think it's good.
Yeah.
Rather than, I just want this to be seen. Like, there's a line, and it's a thin line, but I think a lot of people start off, I think this is something good, but then they just become so warped in the world of marketing that they become a little blinded towards the fact that really you think it's good, so you should stand by it.
Is this like people asking for a shout out on YouTube?
Yeah, it's like, you gotta promote yourself on YouTube as a YouTuber to some degree, because you think what you do is good and you enjoy it, but at the same time, if you're kind of going around spamming people, then it's like, instead you're not doing that because you think what you do is good, you're doing it because you want to become popular, and you kind of lost sight of just enjoying it.
And not even people that make videos, it's like people who just want to hear their own name.
Yeah, pretty much.
That sort of... So basically it's vanity. Vanity.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what it comes down to.
I've seemed to have distracted the conversation from the game.
Did you take the link that I put in the Skype chat?
Yes.
Did you do it now? It's in the...
I did click it. Oh, did I read it? Or did I just look at the pictures? That's for someone else to decide.
I think that's all you need to see is the pictures, because that kind of says it all. Like, think about it. Like, imagine if any other game... Again, like, I think video games should be considered art. Imagine if it's like... in any other game that people consider more artsy, like just say The Last of Us, people would argue that was art. That's one of the big ones. Imagine...
Oh, the giraffe bit was beautiful.
Oh, yeah. And imagine if you just kind of encountered an NPC that was PewDiePie. You would be like, what? Like, you would just be completely taken out of the game and be like, this is... no. Why would they do that? It was kind of a bit like in Mass Effect when they put, that IGN woman in the game. Can't remember her name, but it was blatantly her. It was
Jessica.
Yeah, Jessica. It was so clearly her that when I saw her, I was like, well, now I'm not in the Mass Effect universe. I'm like on IGN. Because, you know, it's okay to play a character, but at the same time, it's like, well, she's not playing a character. She's just her in the game, and this is just weird. So they put quite a few people in this game, and it's so kind of blatant that I can't imagine playing it and not be like, well, now I'm completely lost. All my immersion has just been sucked away because I know what they did, why they did it, and I know who those people are.
I don't even know who these people are.
Okay.
Who's Andy, Shu, Shahid, and Jim?
I have no idea.
Oh, Shahid. That guy, I have no idea who it is.
I don't know. I would assume they're big internet people, but the Greg Miller one, it's like, they don't even say Colin and Greg. They say Greg Miller. It's like, what? Like, if what they should have done is not...
Grog.
Grog. The best way they could have done this, right, to make it okay, is that they put them in the game, they use their likenesses, they don't tweet at them, and then they just kind of spin the name. So, like, Grog tither instead.
Yeah.
So it's a reference, it's funny, it's not kind of... You kind of see, like, you can still kind of... You know where it's coming from, but it doesn't seem like promotion, or it doesn't stand out too much to take you out of the game. Then that's kind of like a funny little reference. But, of course, they didn't do any of those things because they wanted the publicity. So instead we got this, which is just horrible to kind of look at.
That would be the classy way to do it.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, I think...
There is room for that as well. There is room for that.
Yeah, it's possible. I mean, like, when I played Borderlands, I felt like the references in that was a little needy. Like, it felt like Gearbox wasn't a real game studio, so they wanted to prove themselves as being a real game studio by referencing every game under the sun. But then there are kind of a lot of references that are just cool. Like, in Just Cause 2, you can go and find an island where there's a hatch from Lost. But it doesn't say Lost or anything like that. It's just a hatch. So if you haven't seen the show, you wouldn't get it. But it's like, that's cool. This isn't.
Well, yeah, it's not an Easter egg. It's definitely, you can't class it as an Easter egg. I suppose it's like what can I think of? Like Monkey Island. They have like all the other games. They have like Day of the Tentacle and Sam and Max, and they don't say anything about it. It's just on the wall or something, and that's nice. I like that.
I think it's also like, it's a weird world we live in, or like the culture or gaming culture has kind of changed in the last few years, where we now have these celebrities who shouldn't really be celebrities. Like, we have these people who are really big in the gaming world, but really it's like they just made kind of a few videos. And it's great that people can find success that way, but now they're kind of, when things like this are happening, where they're actually getting put in real games in this way, and then we have things like them contacting these YouTubers and being like, promote our game, and then some of them are saying yes and actually promoting their stuff. It's like, this is weird. Like, this is a little off. This isn't what things used to be. And I know you talked about it in your stream last night, and it's... Yeah, it's right. Everything's a little off, a little more corporate. It's not what it used to be, and especially when things like this are happening.
That being said, if someone made a game with me in it, I'd tweet that.
You would retweet.
Like a little... I don't know what they could do, a banana, I suppose. Or like Consuela. I'd...
Dead horse?
I'd have... Dead horse. How dare you. I'd have no qualms.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It's like, it's not really the YouTuber's fault
if
they're going to retweet it. It is a cool thing to have happen to you. But it's when you kind of look at the company and the motives, that's where the problems are.
I suppose it's the other side of the story is the dodgy part.
Because that's why you can't really blame them, because a few years ago they were just people making videos and having fun, and then like kind of making some money off it. And then now it's become kind of this big business, but of course it's not a business, but some of them are a business, and it's just kind of weird. And I think it's going to get to a point where, because people can't, like, new Let's Players have it really rough. They used to have it really bad. Like, when we started, we had it pretty bad. But now it's even worse trying to Let's Play, which means that all the bigger YouTubers are now completely muscling out the smaller ones. Not intentionally, but that's absolutely what they do when they put all these capital letters and do all these kind of small things to promote their stuff with custom thumbnails. They're not promoting their video, they're getting rid of the competition. And then it's like, so you can't get any new ones, so it is going to come to this point where it's only the big ones kind of left doing it. Well, not completely, but then it's just going to be like, it is going to become a business, and it already has in a lot of ways. And this is definitely going to get worse in the future, and I think it's getting worse as we speak.
Yeah. I think as much as... It's true that they're definitely... Their motives change, some YouTubers. But I think that is also pushed on by YouTube itself, because they have like contacts, don't they, and representatives.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're the ones that are also saying, if you did these thumbnails and did that, then you'd get so and so percentage more views, and they're probably like a little devil on their shoulder, I'd imagine.
Yeah, there's no one person to blame in all this. It's just what has happened.
Yeah.
Let's Playing became too popular. Video games rose in popularity in the last 10 years, and now we just got to this point where, of course, companies are now paying attention. There's money to be made, so this is how it is.
I think we've talked about it before, but
Oh yeah.
Let's Playing. No, Let's Playing is definitely on its way down, I would say.
Well, it's the big ones are going to get bigger and the smaller ones are going to get smaller.
All right, let me rephrase it. It's not going down, but it's changed. And one sort of avenue of it is going up, and the original avenue is probably going down.
Oh, it's like society with the rich and the poor. That's what I say.
Are we poor, Tom?
I guess.
Oh.
But there's less fortunate people out there that we have to help.
Who?
I don't care.
I don't care about them either. Give me a game with me in it.
Yeah, set out.
Now.
We're setting out.
I want more fan art. I say more because we've had One Piece, remember?
Oh yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Very moving.
Give me anything that will help my ego.
You need it to be inflated.
Yes.
Poor Joe and his deflated ego.
Inflate it now. Go get the pump in the form of games and artwork
Send
and
in
money.
free games. You'll do a face cam if they send you a free game.
Yeah, sure.
The face
give me
cam stream.
Just give me stuff, and it'll be fun.
Yeah.
And that's
we
how
should
this
set out. We should set out.
Yeah. Yeah, all right. Well, that's the thing though. Setting out, right? Negative connotation. Setting out. But I reckon if I was in a position, I'd probably do the same thing.
I think you would to some degree.
I suppose there are degrees of setting out.
It's not people suddenly turning like evil and then being like, I'll have all the money. It's just like, yeah, it's understandable.
Especially if I don't know how many people quit their jobs to do YouTube. A lot of the time it seems like people who were unemployed anyway. But for people that have quit their jobs and this was their only source of income, I don't know. I mean, you don't know how stable YouTube is, so you'd probably want to try and save as much money as you could.
Yeah, that's a terrifying position.
Whilst you're riding the wave.
If YouTube dies in 5 years, they're all screwed. They have to go get terrible jobs again.
Imagine, see that it must be so good. Well, it's probably not. Once you actually get to that position of being massive, it's probably not as most people think it is. It's probably still quite, like a job where it's do this, do that. But imagine going from that like back to like an office job or something. That would be so
9
weird.
to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of them are putting themselves in a really bad situation because this can't. I think this is going to last for a while, but you got to work yourself up to your pension when it comes to having a job.
Yeah, 65, damn.
Yeah.
You gotta get on with that. That's tough.
Yeah, like I got my Sony pension paperwork come through, and I was like, whoa, no, I don't want to think about this.
Well, you are like 89 years old or something.
That's true. I'm on the way out.
Yeah. You should have already retired, really.
I should have done, but I'm a working man. You know me.
What was I going to say?
Me. World War II was rough.
Well, another thing I was going to mention is, as much as these guys have the good life, I was thinking about it the other day, because I recently started my internship where it is 9 to 5, and I was like, oh man, I can't wait to get indoors and record whatever or go on Minecraft. If that's what I started to do for a living, then that wouldn't be my hobby anymore.
No,
I couldn't have the I can't wait to get home and do that feeling.
Well, you would have that, like, that feeling when you're like 30 parts into a Let's Play, and then you're just like, well, I'm still enjoying it, but I want to do something new and different.
Yeah.
You would kind of have that all the time, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, you still get the new game feeling, but you would just have that more often.
It's like when you wear a really uncomfortable shoe.
Right. Just the one.
All day. Shoes. Plural. and you come in and then you take it off and it's like, that feeling?
Yeah.
You don't know that feeling.
I know that feeling.
You put up with something bad. I think there was a Two Ronnies sketch about that, actually. where so this guy's saying like, "Why do you wear those shoes all the time? They don't fit you." And he goes, "Oh, because it feels so good to take them off." It's that I think if ever a hobby became a job, then it's no longer a hobby.
No, no, definitely not.
So I'm glad for the position that I'm in. I'd say.
Well, you wouldn't not enjoy video games. You just wouldn't enjoy them in the same way. Like you would have to you would have to have two different kind of mental states. One is recording. I need to be funny and talking. Need to get this done. Get this uploaded. Dealing with people on YouTube. And then you would have that. I'm just gonna sit here and play what I want to play. And have that be that. Because I'm a tester. I play video games all day. But it's two very different mindsets. But I'm just in a better position because I actually go to an office and sit down. And like it's a very different environment to me just sitting at home. So I have that big advantage. But YouTubers don't. They just... I guess that's why some of them have a recording room. So they can make that separation easier.
Yeah. And I've heard from a few YouTubers, just saying about how, okay, this is me recording for YouTube, but this is me just playing games to relax. A lot of the time, I've heard a few people say that when they play games just to relax, they're like, oh, that was really funny, I should have been recording that. And it's hard to get away from that entertainment side of things. It's like, oh, damn, that was really good. That would have been a really good video or something like that.
Yeah, I had that, like, at the beginning. Once I started to get better, I'm not going to say good, but better, I kind of had that when playing stuff. Now I don't. Now I just kind of think, well, I can make it work. Maybe it won't be that, as good as it could be, but I can make it work no matter what happens. Because you kind of notice that if you put half an hour into a video game, something funny will probably happen.
Yeah.
Like, if you've Let's Played before and you kind of know the rhythm of it, you can make something funny, or make something, even if it's quite small, that you can make that funny. So yeah. I used to worry about that a lot, but I just don't anymore.
If you suck at games like I do, it's very easy to do.
Very easy.
Very easy. I mean, it's right in front of you.
It's natural.
Yeah. Yeah.
Alright, so I think I'm gonna move the conversation on, because we talk about Let's Playing every week. So instead, we'll talk about the other thing we talk about every week, and that's The Simpsons. So... did you watch it?
No. Yes, I did. No,
yeah.
I did. I watched it earlier today, and I watched it again a little bit just to sort of refresh my memory.
Okay. So first things first. Did you watch the season 26 premiere and the Family Guy crossover, or just...
Yes.
You watched both of them?
I watched both of them.
Okay. Let's start with the Family Guy crossover first, I reckon.
Really?
Oh, we can start with the season 26.
The clown in the dumps episode was terrible. Let's just get that out of the way.
Yeah, it was bad.
I mean, I don't really have much to talk about that. It's just, it was really bad.
Yeah, it was, we're going to spoil it. Both of these episodes we're going to spoil. So It's an hour into the podcast. So if you don't want to hear any spoilers about this, then stop the podcast, watch it, and then come back, because we don't care that much. It's not...
It's a week old now anyway, so...
Yeah, it's like... Yeah, you should have watched it.
Yeah.
Clown in the Dumps, they were teasing how Krusty was going to die. Now, to be fair, I heard an interview with Al Jean where he said they weren't teasing it. They just kind of put it out there as this is what's coming, and then people kind of took it and ran with it. So
I can see that happening.
Yeah, so to be fair, they weren't plastering it everywhere, like, who will die? Dun dun. Like, they did that with Mr. Burns, but they didn't do that with this. It was Krusty's dad, which is like... it doesn't really change anything at all.
How many episodes has he been in? 2? 3?
I think more than that, because he was in season 3, he had that episode, and then he like briefly appeared in another episode about Krusty, but I can't remember what one. And then I think there was another whole episode dedicated to Krusty and his dad. So I want to say this is his 4th episode in 26 seasons.
Yeah.
So it's like... I don't know, like, the main problem with that episode is that it kind of assumes that you already know what the relationship is like. And starts off very quickly with his dad dying. And then it's the ramifications of Krusty's dad being dead and him being sad. Which worked for the Mod Flanders one that worked because you already knew what that relationship was. She was in a lot of episodes. Yeah, they didn't build that character that much, but you knew who Flanders were, you knew who that family was, you've seen them for, be the guys next doors for 11 seasons, so it made sense that that episode was more about Ned grieving than, what that relationship was and why it's sad that it got taken away. This tried the same approach and it didn't work because nobody cares about Krusty and his dad. It's like such a small part of the show that you can't even pretend that it's sad. I think the episode where Homer's mum died was handled a lot better because they actually did take the time a bit more to kind of build up, okay, this is what the relationship was. So I felt it was really odd that they didn't do that for this episode.
Oh, that episode's good. That one of Homer and his mum. I like that one.
Or the one where she dies?
Oh no, so I'm just thinking the one where they reunite.
Oh yeah, that one's
the endings
great.
where they're sitting on the car looking at the stars. That's a nice ending.
Yeah, that's a great episode. That's definitely up there. But the one where... Have you seen the one where his mum officially dies?
No, I haven't actually. No.
It gets... You might like it because it starts off... It's not bad. It's one of the better ones. When she actually dies, it's actually quite a really nice, sad scene. But then everything beyond that, it gets dumb and actually turns into a Bond parody.
Oh my god, what?
But it's stupid.
Does it have Roger Moore in it?
No. I can't remember which one in... Boo! But it turns into like a Bond parody and it goes a bit over the top because it's like... It turns out his mum left him... she had one last thing she wanted to do. So Homer breaks into like this evil underground lair and I want to say it's in like a mountain or a volcano.
Oh, you only live twice.
Yeah.
Right. I see.
But everything like up to his mum dying is really good and worked. But with this, with Clown in the Dumps, it was like, no. And then the jokes weren't there. Like, it always has to be said about every new Simpsons episode where we can talk about the story and the emotional core. Sometimes it works, it mostly doesn't. But the main problem is that the jokes aren't there. And the jokes weren't here this time. I'm not saying I didn't laugh at all. I want to say I laughed a couple of times.
Yeah,
but Jewish Heaven... like Rodney Dangerfield doing an impression of him in 2014 is like embarrassing. Like,
it's weird as well because he's actually been on the show, so it was like a bad impression as well.
Yeah, he was Mr. Burns' son.
Yeah.
And that was good.
That was good.
But now it's like actually him and it's like, oh, you made some jokes about Jewish culture and how they like to complain.
What the sad thing for me about this episode was it was the same story as the one where you first meet Rabbi Kristofsky, whatever his name is. Except for this time he dies. In the first one, it's just that he didn't like the fact that Krusty became a clown.
Yeah.
Which it was the same path. It even had the same bit where Krusty watches the Itchy and Scratchy episode and then breaks down afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And even
Except
like the flashbacks as well.
Yeah. It was I don't mind them doing. I mean, they've done a lot of stories. Some things are going to overlap, I guess. But that was so identical and yet so much less funny.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Like, that episode also has a nice ending. Maybe it's a little, like, oh my papa, maybe that's a little too much. And I think it was when the show was during the 90s and it was a lot more family focused and that's what sitcoms were, so maybe it's a bit much. But it still worked as an ending and it actually got somewhere. But this just, like, ignore that episode... He's disappointed, then he dies. And the way they resolve it is awful. Like, really bad. It's just like Krusty is sad because he thinks his dad never found him funny or was never proud of him. And then it turns out like, oh, his favourite, like, rabbi tells the same jokes. So because his dad liked this rabbi, then that means he must have liked Krusty. It's like he didn't deal with his grief. He just found like a weak reason to ignore it. Like, that's all that was. And it just didn't work.
And I don't know if it's worth bringing up the B plot, but I will, because it was so ridiculously thin It must have been about 3 scenes overall, maybe 4. But Lisa not wanting Homer to die.
Like, that could have worked, but, like you said, it was 3 scenes.
It's almost like why... I would rather they just did one story at that point, because there's no point.
No.
There is no point. They have 20... Well, probably less than 22 now, isn't it? It's about 20 or something. They have 20 minutes to work with. 2 minutes was taken up by that intro, which was overly long and weird.
That was bad. That was
Some
a bad
of their
intro.
intros... It's weird that they're putting more effort into the intros than the episodes now.
Yeah, I don't get it. They're complaining, or they're saying how it's like, oh, we don't have as much time, but they still put like 2 minutes into a sofa gag.
Yeah. Some of them have been okay when they've purposely... It's like, okay, we're going to spend some time and copy this sort of thing. Like they did that, I don't know how to say his name, Guillermo del Toro?
Oh, what the... Yeah, the Halloween.
Like the Pan's Labyrinth, yeah. And that was okay because they obviously put effort into getting all the characters and people were trying to spot who was who. That I don't mind as much.
And it
But
was
this,
a Treehouse of Horror as well.
And that as well. But when they bring in these special guest artists, it was some guy, Don something, I don't know. And even weirder is that apparently someone wrote this article that was supposed to be something to do with depression. I don't get it. I don't get it.
That's
I don't know.
not...
Doesn't make it better.
No, it was bad.
It was bad.
It was definitely bad.
And one more quick thing about the episode. I'm nitpicking, but we can all understand why voices change. It's been going for over 20 years. Their voices are going to change. They're getting older. That's fine. But the way they're recording them now, I don't know if you got this, but their voices seemed really loud. Or like, especially the rabbi, Krusty's dad, his voice seemed like it was like too close to the microphone or something. I can't describe it.
I think you're right, because the older episodes, Krusty would scream all the time, but he never felt in your face or loud. But he was always screaming, like the one where he loses all his money in season 7, and he's at the IRS. It's like, we're just going to garnish your salary. It's like, garnish my salary? Like, it's so... You can hear Dan, like, screaming and putting so much into that line and that voice. But it's not loud and in your face and weird. It just kind of works with the character. So, yeah, I think you're right. I think the voice acting or the mixing is, like,
It
off.
is the mixing. Yeah, it sounds too close, if that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, there's that.
But yeah, so pretty much it wasn't good. It didn't work as an emotional episode. The jokes still aren't there, and it was just weak.
Go watch the one. Was it season 3? You say?
Yeah.
Go watch that one. It's the same episode, pretty much, but funny.
Yeah. And that was the one where Krusty still had an assistant. I think.
Wait, oh yes, the woman.
Yeah.
Who Bart got on with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She was still around, I think, for that episode.
See, she should have been killed off.
Yeah.
There's the
been
answer.
sad.
I would have felt emotion then.
Just no. Someone remembered and then killed her.
Granted, I only remembered her about 30 seconds ago.
No. Alright, so let's move on to the bigger event that premiered in the same night. And that's Family Guy did a double episode, so it was like 40 minutes long, crossover with The Simpsons, where the plot was the Griffin... Hold on, what's going on here then? Hold on, people. Sorry about that. Joe got interrupted. That's what happened.
By After Eights, I did.
Oh,
No, I didn't. That's a lie.
that is a lie.
What actually happened?
I can't remember. But either way, what it was Simpsons? What's up with that? That's crazy.
Simpsons are bad. Oh, wow.
That's nuts. They should
Who
just
would've
end it
thought?
already. God,
Yeah.
that's what I say.
No, we were talking. We're done with Crown.
Season
Dumps.
5, that was a good one.
Oh, those are the days.
Okay, yeah. So we were about to talk about the Family Guy one. So to quickly recap, yeah. So the Griffins go to Springland. Springland?
Springland?
I love this. I've been a big fan of this show for a while. But apparently I always thought it was called Springland. Who the hell knew? Springfield. It's not- it's because where I live there's an area called Springlands, and it's like the rough part that you don't want to go to. So that's why that's in my head. Why I said it, I'd never know.
Springlands.
It's not quite Springlands.
Is that like Iceland's, but in spring?
No. No, it's not.
Alright, fair enough.
Okay, so yeah, so the episode starts off with Peter writing a comic, or not a comic, like a strip in a newspaper, and then it becomes controversial and he has to apologize, but he doesn't, so he ends up leaving. And honestly, I think that beginning setup could have been a full episode of Family Guy. It felt like there was a lot more content there rather than just a setup to get to the, Simpsons episode. But
Yeah.
it's still nice that they put it in, but yeah, that could have been a full 20-minute Family Guy thing, because they love their social commentary.
I think it was a lose-lose situation because, yeah, it could have been its own episode, and I liked some of the little cartoons it did. I thought it was quite funny. So it could have been a whole episode, and it wasted. I think it went on for at least 10 minutes until they actually got into Springfield. So they lost time with the Simpsons stuff, and it could have been its own episode. So that was a bit of a shame for me, anyway.
Well, I think they still needed a decent setup to go into it, but
They did.
they just kind of made a too decent one. Like, really, they just needed a semi-decent reason for them to leave town. Like, The Simpsons and Family Guy have both thrown together a lot lazier reasons for them to leave. So, it's kind of like, it's good that they put in the effort, but it's kind of like, they haven't before, so it's odd that they wasted time doing it now.
Yeah, I just thought they wasted time,
Yeah.
to be honest.
So they get their car stolen, so they end up going to Springfield and then encountering all the different people, and then they encounter the Simpsons and stay with them as they help them find their car. So, like, straight off the bat, I think this episode was alright. I honestly don't think it was bad, but I don't think it was that good of an episode or 40 minutes of television. I don't think it was really that amazing or really stood out as anything that great. But my general impression of it is that it's probably as good as it could have been. Like, it should have been awful, all the pre-stuff was awful, but it wasn't bad. So I think when you come to this sort of over-the-top crossover, you can't really hope for any more than that. Because it's just not going to happen.
I too liked it. I think it was worth watching for sure. I still think it could have been better in parts, but we'll probably get on to bits that I did like and didn't like.
Yeah,
But
I mean, like, if we talk about the jokes, I think Family Guy's humor definitely suited having The Simpsons be fit into that sort of humor more than the other way around, if you know
Yeah.
what I mean. Like having the cutaway jokes, having it be kind of faster pace and go weirder, quicker. I think that worked a lot better for The Simpsons, so that was definitely the right choice. And there was definitely parts where I laughed, like at the beginning
Oh, yeah.
bit. And I think the part that made me laugh the most, or I found the funniest, was Brian talking to Santa's little helper. Like, just talking to Santa's little helper. And just seeing, like, Brian, the talking dog, who sees himself as a writer, next to Santa's little helper. That was, I think, one of the funniest part of the episode. Like, that dynamic over anyone else.
really, because I actually thought that whole bit of Brian and Chris was time that was wasted.
I think
No, I
them
didn't like
losing
that
the
story at all.
dog was like, yeah, that was a weak storyline. But that initial thing of Brian has to go stand in the kitchen, and then he's just talking to Santa's little helper.
Oh, okay.
As Santa's little helper is just a dog. He's just a
Yeah.
normal dog enjoying his food. That made me laugh.
All right, yeah. They have that moment like where they're sort of they have to point out all the obvious things, don't they? So yeah, I suppose that bit was good. I just didn't like the whole bit with it went on for a bit.
Alright, so yeah, let's go by the storylines then. So they had Brian, Chris, and Santa's little helper, where Santa's little helper went missing, and then they had to go try and find him. Which, yeah, I think you're right. I think there was some funny stuff with Santa's little helper and Brian, but that storyline didn't need to be there. Like, just losing the dog and be like, oh, where's the dog? And then it just shows up at the end, no explanation. It was wasted time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because it goes into Krusty Burger and then it's yeah, it just doesn't have an ending. Like you say, it just appears at the end. So
Yeah, I think it was more of an excuse of they want to, or they needed a reason to get around Springfield to have all the jokes. So Santa's Little Helper was one of them. There was another one, but that was one of the main ones to make sure that they actually got to Springfield without them just doing a tour.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And then the next storyline, I'm going to go from like the smallest one to the biggest one. The next one is Lisa and Meg,
Oh god.
which I didn't like. I thought that was actually the worst one. Like Santa's Little Helper, when you kind of look at it, it was like, yeah, wasted time, didn't go anywhere. Lisa and Meg was just bad. It was just, Meg was all depressed and saying how useless she was, and Lisa was trying to convince her she wasn't. And it's like, I guess that's how those two would interact, but it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. It did make me chuckle a little bit. Just I don't know, Lisa was I kind of hated Lisa, but also the way that what's her name? No, it's not Nancy Cartwright. It's the other one, Yardley Smith. The way that she just read some of the lines, I thought was just really funny. I think it was like, "Don't sit on the spread or something like that." And also that she said, "Shut up, Meg." I actually like that.
Yeah, I
Shut
think it
up,
kind of
Meg.
exposes that Lisa can actually... There's more to Lisa than just meets the eye. And that was definitely a good job for the Family Guy writers to do that, where it's like Lisa tries to be overly nice, but at the same time there is like a snobby part to her. So that was good seeing that come out with Meg. But at the same time, just having Meg so over the top, being like, she was too over the top.
Meg's a lost cause. She's just. I don't understand what they do with Meg now. I really don't. I haven't watched the show in years, but it just seems like such a massive, massive waste.
It's just too much. And it's just seeing Lisa like that. It's like, this is not what I want to see. Why do they have to go so over the top with Meg? It's like, whatever. I mean, the part that did make me laugh out of all that was Peter just binning the saxophone straight after Lisa, like, emotionally gives it to Meg. It's just like, we have no room, bins it. Like, doesn't even give it back.
What do you think about the cutting your name into my arm bit?
I thought that was too much.
That was like, you can tell when it's like, this is Simpsons, this is Family Guy, and that was definitely the Family Guy bit.
Yeah, I didn't like that. It just didn't make me laugh. It was just too much.
It's another one of those, like the bit with Stewie. It's like the shock joke, isn't it?
Yeah,
Shock
and that's
comedy.
fine for the shock joke, but I think, I don't know, just seeing Meg, it's just like, whatever. Meg's funnier as a punching bag than being like, literally, she is awful. Like, I think that's where it goes too far.
Mm. Yeah.
So the next one is Bart and Stewie.
Wait a minute, I forgot one.
Which one?
Marge and Lois go to the cinema.
That wasn't... No, that doesn't count.
Well, we're talking about pairing up.
Alright.
That did occur.
But they paired up.
Okay,
And-
alright, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, they made Lois quite boring. Like, you kind of realise, like, she's kind of nothing if she's not around Peter. And then Marge... They kind of made Marge a little bit more kind of...
She's a bitch.
A little bit. Which I
Yeah.
kind of like because... Or, like, a little bit kind of off and psychotic. Which you kind of get a hint of in earlier episodes. Or, not too early, but, like, when she just offers Bart the potato to take because she thinks it's neat. Like,
I
I
just
like
think
that.
they're neat.
I like that sense of humor for Marge, but I think with this episode it was kind of lost a little. Not enough time spent with Marge. She was just kind of there. But I like that that's the direction they went with Marge in the very few scenes she was in.
Yeah, I agree.
But there wasn't much to go off, so
There was paper thin. Yeah.
yeah. Right, so then the next one, and like one of the main ones, was Bart and Stewie.
Oh, I don't know what to think about this.
I don't know what to think because it's like Stewie was psychotic, and it's like, yeah, that's what Stewie does, and then it's like, Bart. I don't know what to think of this. I didn't really like it that much, but then I didn't think like this is terrible. It was just like, whatever.
I think I prefer. I think they did Stewie well. Bart seemed very off this whole episode, actually.
Bart was just kind of like around on a skateboard. It's kind of like if you described someone or to someone who Bart is in the show rather than showing them the show. that's what you would get.
Yeah, exactly. It was like the caricature of Bart. I don't know. It kind of made me think. Like I was trying to think back to Bart episodes. Like, what personality does Bart actually have? I was trying to.
Well, you get Bart gets an F. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And those sort of episodes where it's like he is actually a kid. He just kind of messes around a lot, like a kid does.
Yeah. Well, it kind of stemmed from the ending of that storyline where he gets creeped out by Stewie, and I was trying to think, does that make sense? Yeah. Oh, there's my phone going off. Yeah, I guess so. It was a very confusing storyline.
Again, it kind of went nowhere. Like, it didn't go anywhere. Like, at the moment, out of all the storylines we talked about, only the Lisa and Meg one actually kind of had a resolution to some degree. It was them just saying goodbye to each other, but at the same time, it did go somewhere. But the Bart and Stewie one was just kind of, Stewie tortured some Springfield kids and people, but I was like, that's not cool, and that was it. And then the fact that the episode actually ended on Stewie crying because he missed Bart, that was like just weird. That didn't make any sense to me.
No, it did put that a little bit. Well, I suppose they have, how much hang on? There's like 1, 2, 3. Let's say 4 then. There's 4 storylines.
Sure.
Having 4 individual storylines all have a resolution isn't easy. I can understand that. So okay, one just kind of fizzles out. That's fine. But when you have, and we'll probably talk about it later, when you have like 5-minute sections, or like I said earlier, the intro, which I thought was too long. When you fill that up with stuff that could have been spent making these storylines a little bit better, that's what bugs me.
Well, they didn't all need a storyline, but at the same time, it's like...
But if they're going to set one up...
Yeah, like Bart and Stewie, that was a big enough storyline in the episode that it should have had an ending. With the Brian and Chris and Stewie one, or Santa's Little Helper, it's a weak storyline, but again, they did it to get around Springfield to have those jokes. So that's
what about Marge at the cinema?
Yeah, then that's just like a quick kind of, here's a funny situation, alright then. Like, that's fine. I don't mind every character not having a storyline, but Bart and Stewie was a big part of that episode and what Stewie was doing. And then to just kind of have it where Bart's creeped out and then Stewie just cries at the end, and have that be the actual end of the episode. It was just like, why did they end on that?
Well,
it's just...
well. Yeah, they wanted that. I thought when it was going to pan out, it was going to do the whole Simpsons intro. For some reason, I thought that was where they were going. I don't know why I thought that, but because of the chalkboard, but yeah.
I don't think they had an ending, honestly, and I think it was just like, let's do Stewie writing on the school board, and then we'll call it a day. Like, I don't think they had a proper ending.
No, I don't think so either.
And that
what was after that?
That just leaves us to the main storyline, and that was Homer and Peter, who... Yeah, were you going to say something there?
I was going to say... I felt like something I forgot about the Stewie bit. Oh yeah, no, that was it. Did you find it slightly weird, or maybe unsettling when he made Nelson eat the shorts? I don't know.
It was a little unsettling, but I didn't dislike it.
I didn't think Nelson would be such a big part of the episode. That's surprising.
No, well, they just, like, Nelson's personality is so up in the air that it's just whatever they need him to be.
Yeah, exactly. Nelson, for quite a long time was, like, they made him into this sad character, didn't they? About his dad and his mum and things.
Yeah.
And now he's a bully again.
Yep. It's just whatever they need him for, pretty much.
It's rubber band personalities.
Yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah, so we've got the Homer and Peter one, which is that they're trying to find the car, and then they kind of become good friends. And I'm pretty mixed with this storyline, because I think there were jokes that worked, and there were some funny stuff with those two, but at the same time there was some stuff that didn't work. And before I get onto the big one that didn't work for me, I think doing that car wash scene was such an easy joke that I just think it fell a little flat.
That was my favourite part of the episode.
Was it?
Yes.
I just thought it was...
That was the part that actually made me laugh.
It was just kind of too... obvious. Like fat guys. It's like, all right.
I loved it. I thought it was great. I thought the music, it really made me laugh that bit.
Well, the stuff that I thought was funny was when they were scheming together and the dumb ideas, which was just like, let's just drink petrol because we're trying to find a car. That made me laugh. Just to see these two like complete idiots coming together and then just coming up with really dumb ideas and just agreeing and then doing them.
I liked the bit after that, which was a little throwaway about in
German. I didn't get what happened at first, and then I was like,
I was like, wait, oh yeah. See, I like that where it's just completely. It wasn't over explained. It was just there you go. There's that. I like that bit.
Yeah, that was funny, and that's why like it was better for Family Guy to take The Simpsons on because then you could do those sort of jokes, and that's why it kind of worked a bit better.
So you liked that bit of the petrol thing? I didn't find that too funny, to be honest.
It's just so dumb that they were both like, let's drink petrol. It's like, yeah, and then they just do it. Like, it just made me laugh.
So what, did you like the giant magnet bit as well?
Yeah.
Oh, God. Okay.
It's just so stupid. It's the best. I think if you have those two characters together, you can't not have it be super stupid. And I like that they went all in with that.
But the car wash scene was stupid as well.
No, but that's like an easy kind of, oh, we got two fat guys, let's make them try and be sexy. And get people grossed out by it.
It was kind of gross.
Like, that was the joke, isn't it gross that fat people, or fat people being sexy is just too much.
No, but I liked it when like, Homer flew his head back and like the two little strands of hair was the water coming off it. I like that stuff.
I think we're going to have to agree to disagree.
And yeah, fair enough.
I think, yeah, like, okay, so I found parts that were funny, not so funny, and I'm guessing it's the same for you. Some parts worked, some parts didn't. And then we get to the end of the episode, or towards the end, where it turns out, like, that the beer from Family Guy is just a rip-off of Duff. Like, just straight up a rip-off. So then they sue. I have no idea what they were trying to say with that whole scene with the courthouse. No idea.
Wait, is this like sarcasm here? I can't tell.
No. I kind of, you know, I got the general gist of what they were saying and all that. But it's like, why was this here?
I guess it was just so they could match up the characters.
Yeah, but it's like, it felt like they were trying to say something kind of more by having like Fred Flintstone as the judge. But it kind of seemed to be more negative towards Family Guy, which I felt was odd.
I suppose they did sort of use the joke a bit too much about, oh, Family Guy is just a copy of Simpsons. I would assume maybe this courtroom bit was to do with how they both stem from the Flintstones.
Maybe. I think it's just...
Maybe.
Yeah, I just felt it was a little muddled what they were trying to say. Because I don't think they wanted to outright say, oh, we didn't rip them off, or there's nothing there. And then at the same time, I don't think they could say, we did definitely. So I think instead they kind of just sat in the middle where it was like, yeah, there's some similarities. And that was about it. And then the fact that that storyline went nowhere, because then it just led to the big fight. So it was like they were just kind of starting to have some sort of kind of message and points and talking about the two shows, and then that kind of just goes completely out the window for this big dumb fight.
I don't know what message they could really say about the show though, that's the thing.
Well, yeah, that's why it's weird that they brought it up. Because it didn't feel like, oh, here are some funny comparisons. That would have been fine. It felt like there was more to it than that. But there wasn't, but there was. But it's like, I just didn't get it.
Hey, I liked it because they had Consuela and Bumblebee Man next to each other.
Yeah.
And they had Matt Groening and Seth as well, and there was someone in the background.
Yeah, that was funny.
And they had James Woods. I really like that bit.
Yeah, it was so good. The way
God, they actually went all the way back. They called back to that episode, which is years ago now.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was funny.
Yeah. That was another one of my favourite jokes from the episode.
Yeah, that's definitely...
Because you just didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah,
James Woods
again, it's another one where the first few seconds you're not sure what's happening.
Yeah.
Then it's like, oh, that's James Woods sitting next to James Woods.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, then it goes on to my least favourite part of the episode.
Yeah, the fight. So Homer and Peter have basically fallen out at this point because of the big court case. So they end up fighting, and what it essentially comes down to is a chicken fight, but around Springfield. And I didn't like it. It's just, animation-wise, they obviously put in a lot of effort, but it was just not funny. I just didn't know when to laugh. The only real cue I got to actually laugh and to enjoy it was like Ralph,
Yeah.
and that was it. Otherwise, I don't like the chicken fight was kind of funny the first time because it came out of nowhere. This didn't come out of nowhere. They set it up, and then they did it in the exact same way that they would do a chicken fight, and it goes on for 10 minutes.
Yeah. That's the thing. It actually, I was like, how long does this go on for? It goes on for at least, or 8 to 10 minutes. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's just like
it's too long.
It's about half an hour into the episode and it starts, and then you know it's like, well, this is towards the end. This has got to be the end, and it is the end. So it's like, oh, so instead of doing anything else, we had to have this big fight, and I can see why they put it in, but no, like you could have spent time with other characters, like Mr. Burns. I would have liked to have a bigger role in the episode, someone like that. But instead we just get them turning into like Hulk flying men, and they fight, and that's like...
Well, that's a sign of when even they don't know what to do with chicken fights, where it's like, okay, they've fought enough, let's just make them mutants. It's like, well, why? So they can go into space and then get that Roger cameo? I mean,
No. I didn't mind the Roger cameo, but yeah, the way it happened was the bad part.
yeah.
It's just like... No, it kind of felt weirdly lazy. And the one thing I really didn't like about it is that how gruesome the end was.
No, where his eye pops out a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Like,
bit...
That was too
too much.
much. That was like... No. You shouldn't have gone that far. That's just too much.
Yeah, I was expecting like all the teeth stuff because they've done that before on Family Guy, but then the eye popping out, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, then like Homer gets crushed and there's like blood.
Yeah,
It's just kind of like, I'm obviously I can't really laugh at that, so it's just gross. It's just too much.
there is like gross out humor, but that's not it.
No,
That's definitely not it.
that's just we're gonna put some violence and gore in there for no reason.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Yeah.
The weird thing was actually thinking back, like you saying how they could have spent more time with other characters instead of that fight. In the courtroom, they put Stewie next to Mr. Burns, which is what we predicted would be a good match.
Did we?
I'm pretty sure we said that because they're both evil.
I reckon you probably did. I don't remember saying that.
But like they must have, so they've noticed that themselves. That would have been Mr. Burns was missing from the episode.
Yeah.
Mr. Burns is a pretty big character.
Yeah, they should have spent more time with another, like a character like that. Like they had 40 minutes. If they cut the intro to about half as long, make
Yeah,
the
5 minutes.
get
done.
rid of the fight, then they could have been like, oh, we lost our car, that's brought us here. But then they could have like had any other sort of storyline to do with any of the characters.
That would be 15 minutes more to play with. Think of the stuff you could do with that.
That's a lot.
There's a lot of
You could put in
time.
there.
There's a lot of time. That's yeah. So it's a shame that we didn't get to see. And also, why were there? Oh no, I'm not going to nitpick that much, but there should have been more characters, definitely.
I'm not too sure if they needed to cram it for the characters, but yeah, definitely some more. Like, I guess they wanted to focus more on the family, but then they like ran out of ideas, so they padded it. That's
Yeah.
what it kind of feels like. Like it needed to be a 40-minute episode, but they only seem to have ideas for half an hour, and then they just padded the rest.
So I know we are moaning about it quite a lot, but yeah, like I said right at the beginning, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was entertaining because there are tons of little things that we're not talking about that just make you go, huh, yeah, like those sort of jokes where it makes you laugh, but it's not a massively funny thing. And it had enough of those in it for me to enjoy watching it. And saying all this stuff, you got to remember that we're saying it on the level where our expectations were low anyway.
Yeah,
So
we talked about it before, how we saw that footage and was like, this is gonna suck. Like, this is
yeah,
gonna be really bad. I was really prepared to hate this episode, but then I found myself laughing, and I
yeah,
think there were some clever references in there. There were some good jokes, and that's all you really need when you have two comedy shows meeting.
yep. There was lots of little things like I actually wrote down one because I knew I'd forget it. One example of a little joke that I liked was, I think Brian says it, where he says where they put Santa's little helper, and he says like he tied him to the tree because no one ever knows where that actually is. It's just a little joke about the Simpsons that they snuck in there, which I really liked because it's true that the tree does move all the time in the episodes. I'm like, oh, that's nice. Little things like that is what made me like the episode.
Yeah, there's a ton of stuff in there, so it's definitely worth. I might have to watch it again to pick up on all the little things, but yeah, it's like, it's what I said at the beginning. It's probably as good as it could have been.
Yeah. Well, maybe not. Well,
Yeah, we've got our complaints, but at the end of the day, it's still like Family Guy taking on The Simpsons when doing a big crossover. So the fact that we've come away with there were some good jokes in there, and it was pretty good. I think that's what you can hope for. You can't hope for the amazing crossover of the century. It's just not going to happen.
no, I suppose not. Wish fulfillment.
Yeah.
But then it does make me wonder how the Simpsons Futurama one's going to be.
Yeah, I'm
Because
pretty
I
interested
assume that's going to be
in that.
handled by, well, it is going to be handled by The Simpsons. So that was done by Family Guy. They did a pretty good job. Can The Simpsons take their own stuff and do it well?
Well, the way you do that one is that you have the cleverness of Futurama, but you're still kind of... Well, yeah, that's pretty much how you do it. You just make it clever and smart and emotional like a good Futurama episode. So you just make it like The Devil Hands Are Idle Playthings, or The Late Philip J. Fry, or The Dog One. You just do one of those in The Simpsons. That's how you make that work. Whether they will, probably not, but that's how you do it.
What do you mean?
Like, you just make it one of those episodes where you walk away thinking about the more emotional components than the mashup itself.
So, okay, so you wouldn't see it having like Fry goes with Homer, Leela goes with
No,
Marge.
you
sort of
don't
type
do
deal.
it like that one.
That's interesting.
Because The Simpsons isn't that show. It's not Family Guy. So that's why it wouldn't work with the family hanging out in an episode in The Simpsons, because it's not that show. Or at least the good episodes isn't that.
Well, is it going to be? Is it going to be like a Treehouse of Horror episode?
I don't think so. Like, there's also an episode this season that is them going to Kai and Kodo's home planet.
Oh. Oh, okay then. Maybe we
Not
don't
a
have to worry so
Treehouse-
much.
Yeah, not a Treehouse of Horror. It's just an episode where that's what happens.
Was the episode where they look into the future with Frink's machine? That was just a regular one as well, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so they can do things like that, I suppose.
All the time travel ones, all the future and past ones are all normal episodes.
Yeah. Okay then.
Alright.
Just one.
Well, I think we've done it, so I think we can end off this podcast for this week.
We have talked a lot about The Simpsons and things now, haven't we?
We have.
Probably too much.
Like, this is felt long for me, in a good way, because it was like proto at the beginning, and then we went all in with the Simpsons talk, like all in.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we said we'd talk about it, and we did, so there you go.
Yeah. We're not liars.
No. In fact, we did too much, probably. We probably went into too much detail, so just go watch it for yourselves and be disappointed or impressed. Who knows?
There's some funny stuff in there, whatever. It's fine.
It's fine. There you are. That's how we end the review. It's fine.
Yes, so, before I end off, I want to just mention that I plan to stream next week. It's actually been, I had to skip a week because I was busy, and then obviously you did your stream this week, so I didn't want to do it then, so I'll be doing mine next week. And the current plan is that because I have an Elgato and a new setup, is that I need to test if I can live let's play a game and have it work and have it be a viable option instead of doing the let's plays because they're not doing as well anymore and whatever. So my plan is that next Saturday I will be streaming Alien Isolation. And I have that game on pre-order. It's going to arrive on Friday. I won't touch it because I'll probably be at work. Then Saturday night I will stream that for a couple of hours, record it, probably edit it and upload it as well. So that's what I'll be playing next Saturday.
You've got a new computer as well, right?
Yeah.
Ooh.
So it's testing my new computer to see if it can stream and record and have it all work. That's pretty much it. And it might as well be a new game. And I'm going to buy Alien Isolation anyway, so, you know, it kind of makes sense. It all kind of fits together quite nicely.
Are you going to do a webcam and do over-the-top reactions?
Absolutely.
Good. Good, that'll get the views.
Yes! Custom thumbnails, here we go. Me screaming.
Lots of exclamation marks. Your face in the thumbnail, like a stupid expression.
Like,
It's done. Set. All set. Good, I look forward to next Saturday.
Sorted.
You're not really gonna do
I
that.
will be uploading it, editing it, and put it together, so that will actually come out. It just won't have custom thumbnails, I'm afraid.
Or a webcam.
Or a webcam.
Thank God for that. Right.
Cool.
Not
Well,
that I'm saying you're ugly or anything, it's just, you know.
you don't know.
No.
That's right. My secret shame. Anyway,
sorry.
so what's coming up on your channel next week?
All the same stuff.
No, that's it.
Bond gun, Minecraft, same stuff.
Sorted.
It's a nice routine with it now, so that's good.
Sorted.
And then comes the annoying new Let's Play sorting out stuff.
Oh. Good
That'll
grief.
be fun. Good. Yeah, thank you, Charlie.
Anyway, gotta end this off. So, thank you for joining me, Mr. McLuckable.
Thank you.
And we will see you next week.
See ya.